All right, should be live now, guys. How's it going? Hope you guys are all having a good Monday. I know you guys are all super excited to for me to talk about the Jets and the Patriots. But yeah, really, I mean, we have a Millie Maker. There's obviously it's not going to be a great game to watch, but I think there's a lot of ways you can get unique here. There's a lot of viable plays, right? We have the Patriots that run three running backs. We have the Jets, they run three running backs. There's like no real like standout wide receiver on the slate. I mean, I guess you could argue Crowder, right? But and both quarterbacks are not great. So there's a lot of different ways you can go. We'll outline what I think is the safe approach for like a cash game setting. What I kind of like to get different maybe, and then we'll get to questions at the end. So. All right, let's talk about the Vegas odds and the snap counts, and then we can get into the player-by-player breakdown. Crowder's playing. Yes, Crowder is playing. Yeah, he's good to go. So we have Patriots, Jets. It's a 42 over-under. Patriots are 9.5-point favorites. I think it was 10-point favorites when I made the video yesterday, but honestly, it doesn't do a whole lot for me. I think the over-under might have went up a little bit too, but it's still projected to be a pretty ugly, low-scoring game. Let's take a look at the snap counts here from last game for each of these teams. So for the Patriots, again, they kind of have a three-headed monster. Burkhead played 49% of the snaps, James White 48%, Damian Harris 31%. Now, Harris doesn't play a whole lot, but when he's out there, he'll usually get carries. He is the early down back, and we do have no Sony Michel, so it does make Harris a little bit more viable. He's just still, in my opinion, too pricey. Now, there's still a way he can get you there, right? He can go for a couple touchdowns in the ground. It's not out of the realm of possibility, and the Patriots are favored in this one, so don't completely cross him off, but he's not someone, for me at least, for single entry that I'm going to get to. And then, White is more their third down back, their pass catching back. Burkhead, the change of pace guy. He'll get some carries here and there, also some targets as well. A wide receiver situation, the Patriots, is more clear cut because we still have Edelman out. We still have N'Keal Harry out. So I assume we get basically what we got last game, which is Bird and Myers playing the entire game, and Gunner getting about 60 to 70% of snaps as the number 3 wide receiver. Tight ends for the Patriots, well, we only have one healthy tight end. That's Ryan Izzo. He's good to go. He played 74% of the snaps. I assume we get something close to that again this game. Again, Keen, Asiasi out, so Izzo is their only guy. Definitely a viable punt, but Patriots don't really go to their tight end too much. Running backs for the Jets, LaMichael Perrine's the guy that I feel the most comfortable with. He played 49% of the snaps. He's a rookie. The Jets have nothing to play for, so he would be the guy if I was going to play a Jets running back that I would consider. Frank Gore, for some reason, is still getting carries. I don't know why, but yeah, I mean, he's pretty cheap. I guess you can at least consider him in the player pool. And then Ty Johnson is their number 3 running back. He'll probably get a couple touches, but nothing you can really go to with confidence there. Wide receivers for the Jets, well, this is a little bit different. So Mims played 96% of the snaps. I would assume he does play majority of the game again tonight. Berrios played 84%. He is basically a guy that's out of play for me with Crowder healthy and good to go. Crowder plays out of the slot. When Crowder would be out, Berrios would fill in. And Crowder's playing tonight, so I have no interest in Berrios at that price. Also, Smith is a guy that I'm probably not going to get to with we have Perriman back, so I think that the 3 wide receiver sets for the Jets will be Perriman, Crowder, Mims. So Jeff Smith, I think, will probably work in as the number 4 wide receiver. Maybe 20 to 30% of the snaps. Again, he is 1K. I guess you can still consider him, but definitely feel more comfortable with those top 3 guys. And then tight ends for the Jets. Herndon has been a huge disappointment, but he's still playing majority of the game, played 70% of the snaps. Again, in consideration, I don't think a lot of people get to him. He's a sneaky play. I think it is viable on this one. Ryan Griffin, their backup, played 28% of the snaps. So that's kind of it for the player-by-player breakdown. Again, I'll get to questions here in a sec, guys, once we go player by player. So we'll start with Cam Newton at the top. He's 13-2. There's not a lot to pay up for on the slate. So he's going to be really popular. I would assume probably what we got from Devontae and Aaron Rodgers, which would be probably above or around 95% ownership. I think there is, if you're making a lot of lineups, you can definitely fade Cam in one, right? Because we know the Patriots are a run-first team. They're projected to be playing from ahead. I could see a way where Cam is not in the winning lineup, but it's not very likely. So yeah, for cash games, definitely throw Cam Newton in your lineup. He's a guy that's running the ball a lot more. 76 and 54 yards on the ground in 2 of the last 4 games definitely raises his floor. So yeah, Cam Newton for cash games, play him. Even for GPPs, I think he's a guy that you probably should play. If you're making a ton of lineups, I think you make an argument to fade him in maybe 1 or 2 of those. But he's a guy that will be in a majority of the lineups tonight. Again, I would assume probably 95-ish% ownership would be my best guess. Jamison Crowder at 11-2. He's good to go. Missed the last couple of games. I like him as a spend up. Even with the bad quarterback play, whether it be Darnold or Flacco, he's still been good, right? 13, 10, 10, 13 targets. The Jets, Darnold, Flacco, they're not really throwing it deep. They're throwing the short passes, so that definitely favors Crowder, right? Playing on the slot, he's going to run a lot of those short routes. So I think Crowder does make for one of the better spend-ups this slate. I also think he's a pretty safe option. Is he a must-play? No, but probably someone I would include for cash games for me. So Crowder, definitely someone I like. I like his upside as well. And then again, no Sam Darnold, so Joe Flacco is the starting quarterback for the Jets. Obviously not great from what we've seen him the games he's played, but he's still a quarterback. He's 9.4K. He has a higher floor than most guys on this slate. So yes, I think the play for cash games is you play Cam, you play Flacco, and I think you play Crowder. That's where I would go. Those are the 3 guys I would start my lineup with for a cash game setting. So yeah, am I excited to play Joe Flacco tonight? Of course I'm not. But he's a quarterback. I could see him getting me 15 fancy points. The Jets are obviously not projected to score a lot. They're probably going to be playing from behind. I think Flacco's someone you can look to here at 9-4. Damon Harris at 10-2. Has actually had over 100 yards in 2 of the last 4 games. He is just so touchdown dependent. He's going to be the early down back. But, if he doesn't score, I don't see a way he gets you there at that price of 10.2K. That doesn't mean it's not possible, right? And this is a game that Patriots are projected to be playing from ahead, right? About 10-point favorites. We do have no Sony Michel, which does make Harris a little bit more viable, in my opinion. Now, full disclosure, am I getting to Harris? No, I'm not. But I think you can at least consider him because he's a guy that, again, will get most of the early down work for the Patriots, and they're projected to be playing from ahead in this one. He's just going to get no receiving down work. That's why he's risky at that price. Jacoby Myers at 9K. Well, he did have 10 targets last week. 6 touchdowns, 10 targets. I think he's the most talented receiver of the guys they have out there with him, Bird and Gunner. 9K, it kind of feels like a lot, but again, there's not a whole lot to pay up for. And if you want to fade like Joe Flacco, I think you can look to a guy like Jacoby Myers. 6 and 10 targets in back-to-back games is not bad. So yeah, I don't really have a strong take here. I think he is probably the most talented receiver. Am I going to really prioritize Jacoby Myers? Probably not, but I think he's a good option if you can get to him. And he will play the majority of the game too. Still no Edelman. The Patriots D at 7-4, so kind of talked about it in my video, but for single entry, I don't think you go there. I think the ownership will be pretty high too, because there's just not a lot to pay up for on this slate. And we saw it actually with the Bucs defense, right, against the Giants, last week. They were almost 40% owned at I think it was the identical price, maybe it was 7.2K. I was shocked at that ownership because, the Patriots defense either has to pitch a shutout here or they need a defensive score to pay off that salary. Now, that's definitely possible, right? The Jets' offense is absolutely terrible. So I'm not saying fade the Patriots' defense completely, but if you're playing single entry, I don't think you play it. If, let's just say, for example, I was making 10 lineups, I would probably have the Patriots' defense in 20%, 20 to 30%, so maybe 2 or 3 of the lineups. So, yeah, I don't think they're a terrible play. I definitely think they're in consideration, but making just one lineup, I probably don't get to them. I think they're a little bit overpriced. Yeah, Damiere Byrd at 6'8". It's kind of my same analysis with Jacoby Myers. Myers, I think, is a little bit more popular. Both will play the entire game. Byrd does have some big play upside, but the Patriots aren't going to pass a ton. Against that game against Kansas City, he did have 10 targets. I don't think he's going to kill you. Is he going to break the slate? I think there's a possibility because, again, he does have that big play upside in him. So, there's another one of those guys that I'm okay if you land on him. But like Myers, I'm probably not going to prioritize getting him in there. Now we start getting to some of the cheaper plays. So yeah, James White's at 6'4". This is a situation of how you think the game flows. There's a chance the Jets do lead in this one, right? Not likely, but if the Jets pull ahead in this one, then I think James White looks a lot better here at 6'4". But if the Patriots are playing from ahead, which they're expected to, I'm a little bit worried about White because I don't know if they're going to need him and the passing down work a ton. So that's the issue with White. I do like that he does. Obviously, he doesn't do a lot on the ground, but the floor is decently high because he's a good pass catching back. 3 of the last 4 games, 8, 9, and 4 targets is pretty solid. So yes, James White's in consideration. I would have liked if he was a little bit cheaper, but this is a situation where it's all about how you think the game flows. If you think the Jets do pull ahead, then I like White a lot more. Like if the Patriots are playing like, let's say the Chiefs in this game, then I would really like James White. Like he would be one of my favorite plays because obviously they're most likely going to be trailing, and that's really good for James White. So, again, all about how you think the game flows, I guess. Michael Preen's at 5'8". I think he's a decent option. Again, I wish I had a stronger take on some of these guys, but I really don't. Like, he did play the most snaps for the Jets. He'll probably get about 50% of the touches. In the last 3 games, 3, 3, and 2 targets is not great, but it's not bad. 5'8", yeah, it seems okay. So, again, if you landed him, that's fine. That's really my thoughts. Again, I wish I had a stronger take on some of these guys in the mid-range, but I really don't. N'Keal Harrigan, once again, out. Berrios is a guy that I have a strong take on. I think you fade Berrios with Crowder playing. I don't think he sees enough snaps to play him, right? He's basically, the good games he's had has been when Crowder has been out. So I'm not going to get to Berrios at 5'4". Denzel Mims at 5K, I actually kind of like here. I don't know if he's going to be super popular. The rookie, I think he has some decent he has some big play upside. It's just, whether Joe Flacco can get him the ball. But I do think he plays the majority of the game. He is a speedster. He can break loose. I think he's a decent play in the mid-range. I don't know if the ownership is going to be super high on him. Rex Burkhead at 4'6". Again, he's kind of the change of pace back, right? Well, it'll be Harris as the early down back, White as the third down back. Burkhead more the change of pace, but he'll get some carries. If I had to guess, I would say about 5 carries. And then he will get some receiving down work too. Not as much as James White, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has like 2 or 3 catches in this game. So Burkhead's one of those guys that, again, he'll do a little bit of both. Whereas Harris more just the rushing, White more just the receiving. Burkhead won't get as much rushing, as much receiving, but he'll do a little bit of both. 4'6", I think that looks like a decent value option on this slate. We know the Patriots again are a run first team. Perriman's at 4'2". I think that's pretty good for him too, right? He's going to be, I think it's going to be him, Crowder, and Mims, the starting receivers for the Jets. I do think they play a majority of the game. 4.2K for a starting receiver is pretty decent. I think he's a fine option. I probably slightly prefer Mims for a little bit more. I just think I like the upside a little bit more in Mims, but Perriman's okay if you landed him at 4'2". The Jets defense, I think, is interesting here at 4K. The Patriots are going to be more popular. If I was going to play a defense, it probably would be the Jets. It's just a price point thing, right? 4K, that's more playable than 7'4". And it's not like Cam Newton has not been turning over. He's been turning it over a ton, right? The interceptions, the fumbles. So I would probably feel a little bit more comfortable with the Jets D if I was going to play defense. Full disclosure, I'm not playing either defense. But they are, playable on a slate which both offenses do really struggle. I do think the kickers are both in play too because I can see a situation where obviously the offenses may move the ball a little bit, but they can't punch it in. Both Folk and Castillo I think are fine options at 3.8 and 3.4 respectively. I'd probably slightly give the edge to Folk just because I'm a little bit more comfortable in the Patriots offense as opposed to the Jets. So, I don't really have a strong opposition if you land at a kicker in your lineup. I think they're fine. I think you could even make an argument to play both on a slate like this because it's just a game where, I could see both teams struggling to punch it in. So, Frank Gore's at 2.8. Not as excited about this one. He's still getting carries, 9, 11, 11, and 10 carries. So, I project about 10 carries. I think Michael Perine does get a little bit more work. And Perine is getting more passing down work where Gore isn't really involved in the passing game. Now, can Gore still get you to this price? Yeah, but he probably needs to score, which isn't out of the realm of possibilities. I'm probably not going to go out of my way to play Frank Gore either. Again, no Sony Michel is pretty big news. Does make Harris a little bit more viable, even though he's too pricey in my opinion. Chris Herndon at 1.6 is kind of a sneaky play here. I wanted to get him in my lineup, but it didn't really fit. I think he's he's going to fly under the radar, maybe like below 10% ownership or so. There was a lot of hype on this guy going into the year, and I still think he's talented. It's just I think the quarterback play has affected him a bit. The first week he had a nice week. He had 6 catches and 7 targets, but like after that, it's just been not great. But at this price at 1.6, doesn't need a lot to pay off the salary. Probably a couple catches, and he's definitely obviously someone they can look to in the red zone. So Herndon, I kind of like as a sneaky value play. Izzo's okay too, right? He's the only tight end for the Patriots. Again, not going to get targeted a ton. With him and Herndon, I think Izzo might be a little bit more popular, so I would prefer Herndon. But not saying Izzo's out of play either. 3-3, 1-3 targets in the last 4 games is, again, doable, right? All you really need is probably a couple catches at that price point. Jeff Smith is a lot riskier now with all those receivers healthy with Mims, Crowder, and Perriman. So I think Smith's role goes down by a significant amount. My best guess for what he gets is probably 20 to 30% of the snaps. With that being said, he's still playable at 1K, but definitely a riskier value option. Gunner at $600, I actually think looks like a pretty decent value option, right? He played 65% of the snaps last game. I think we assume he probably gets the same this game. Sure, he didn't get targeted. Did have 1 carry though, but yeah, at this price, like if he's going to play, a majority of the game, I think he looks decent. So I do kind of like Gunner here for value. I think he is, I guess, one of the safer value options in the slate. I guess you're not really going to feel comfortable or confident with anything, in my opinion, in your lineup for tonight. But yeah, Gunner's definitely someone I'm looking to for value. Zuber is. I think he played a few snaps. I don't even know if he's available tonight. He played 9% of the snaps. I actually don't think he is. I think he's back in the practice squad, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, reverted to the practice squad. So he is not available tonight. Ryan Griffin's the backup for the Jets, tight end-wise. Has had a 3 targets in 3 of the last 4 games. Again, you can throw him in the player pool. He's not going to be popular, but I could see a way where he pays off that salary. Obviously, only really needs like 1 or 2 catches. Probably 1 catch at that price. Ty Johnson's at $200. Had 3 carries last week, 1 catch, and he's their 3rd running back. But yeah, you can throw him in the player pool too. All right, there's a lot of guys you can throw in this player pool. No one really going to feel great about, and that really wraps it up for me. Slater will be the number 4 wide receiver for the Patriots, but he's more of the special teams guy. And yeah, I think that really wraps up for the player-by-player breakdown. Again, we have no Asiasi, no Keene, so Izzo is their only healthy tight end. Isaiah Ford from the Dolphins is not available yet, so that's why Patriots, I think we get more of the same, right? I think it's Bird, Myers playing the majority of the game, and Gunner probably gets 60 to 70% of the snaps. So let's talk about captains now. First, cash games. Cash games, I think you do this, to be honest. I think you do Cam in the captain with Crowder and Joe Flacco. That's how I would start my cash game lineup. So yeah, 3.2 carry remaining is not a lot, but there's a lot of viable, cheap options. That's how I would start my cash game lineup if I was playing cash games. Now again, I tell you, I never play cash games on this slate. I play a little bit risky. I play more for fun, but that's how I would go about starting a cash game lineup. GPPs, who are guys that I'm considering for the captain tonight? Again, I always mention this, but in the GPP winning lineup, it's about 75% of the time either a running back or a wide receiver is in the captain spot. So most of the time I will go there. I think you can still consider Cam because he has rushing upside. So guys I would consider for the captain spot for tournaments tonight would be Cam. Again, he's going to be popular. Crowder, going to be popular. I think you can look to Myers. Myers would probably be the guy as far as the wide receivers, the Patriots, that I would consider throwing in the captain. Right? I want the guys that have a lot of upside. And then below that, I think you can look to a guy like Mims for the Jets, right? The rookie. I think he does have the big play upside. And then the running back situation for both teams is a little bit tricky because no one really gets the majority of the work. If I was going to play one running back in the captain spot, I think it would just be James White. Because in that situation, what I would hope for is just that the Jets pull ahead early and the Patriots are playing behind. Because then I could see upside game here from James White. So those are probably the guys I would consider. If you want to take a cheap dart throw, this is to get really risky, nothing I can really go to with confidence. But a couple cheap plays I think are in consideration. A guy like Chris Herndon for the Jets. I know he's been a big disappointment, but still playing a majority of the game. and then a guy like Gunner at he would be at $900 in the captain. He's going to play also probably 60 to 70% of the snaps. So those are probably two like really risky plays I think you can at least throw in the captain spot. Like if you throw Gunner in there, 9.8K remaining, you can just plug in whoever else you want into your lineup. But again, that's a super, super risky approach. But yeah, I think that's going to really wrap it up for me. So let's get to some questions, guys. We have just under 10 minutes until lock. Real quick, though, I will ask if you enjoy the content, hit that like button. It does really help me out. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're, I believe, at 5.62 thousand subscribers, trying to hit 6K by the end of the month. Thoughts on Gunner? Yeah, Gunner is a guy that I'm looking to. Herndon is cheeks. Herndon has not been great. He's been a disappointment, but again, that price point does make him a little bit playable. Thoughts on Myers captain? Yeah, I think Myers is a fine captain option. I think he's the most talented wide receiver for the Patriots. I saw that Crowder was downgraded to doubtful. I think that was fake news. I saw it as well. That the Crowder, it was a fake Adam Schefter account. Actually, I already saw that. So yeah, that was fake news. Let's see. Good luck, everyone. Someone take it down. DFS Bachelor posted it. Yeah, he said though that was a mispost though. That it was a fake account. DK, who's your captain tonight? I'm going Crowder. Like it's gonna be popular. Cam's gonna be the most popular captain, followed by Crowder. But yeah, I'm going Crowder. Who's playing out of the slot for New England? I think it'll be Myers majority. Pat's defense stacked for the win tonight. Gunner plus Pat's defense. I don't think the Pat's defense are out of play. Right. I just think if you're making one lineup, that I wouldn't get to. But I definitely see a way the Patriots defense gets there. Probably do need a defensive touchdown. Should I go with Jets D, kicker, or Gore? That's a tough one. I would go either kicker or Gore. Or kicker or Jets D, I should say. I think I'll go with the kicker in that situation. Captain Cam, Costello, Crowder, Herndon, Myers, Mims. What do you think, DK? I think that's good, right? Cam's going to be a popular captain. You got the kicker in there, Crowder. Herndon is a cheaper play that I think does have some upside at least. Myers, Mims looks good. Who do you have a captain again? I'm going Crowder, captain. Wilkerson or Gunner? I don't think Wilkerson's in the player pool, right? Am I wrong? I know he got called up, but yeah, he's not in the player pool. So definitely Gunner there. Gunner, Izzo, and Cash. That's a tough one. I think both are pretty similar. Neither are going to target a ton, but both, I think, do get 60 to 70% of the snaps. Give me Gunner, I guess. But that's like a 50-50 call there. Demir Bird making any noise tonight? He's got big play upside. He's at a kind of a weird price range at 6'8". I don't think a lot of people get to him. So he's kind of a contrarian play in the mid-range that I like. I think he has, again, one of the few guys I think does have upside on this slate. Right, and he's going to be out there the entire game. Flacco over Myers and Cash. I think I would. I know it's gross, but I think I would play Flacco over Myers and Cash. Playing both quarterbacks. Playing both quarterbacks. Yes. What's up, Paul? How's it going, man? Do you like Burkhead or the kickers more? Also a tricky one. Like I don't have a strong take on that one. I think go with your gut. Kickers are probably a little bit safer. But I do think Burkhead has potential to have a little bit more upside since obviously he's a guy that can get in the end zone. So yeah, kickers for safety. Burkhead, if you want to get a little riskier, I think he has maybe a little bit more upside. Double defense and double kicker viable, LOL. It's honestly not out of play. Like what you need there with if you're playing both defenses and both kickers is probably like a 9-6 game, which is again that's not out of the like I could see that happen tonight. I could see just a game where there's only field goals. And if that does happen, then both defenses and both kickers are going to be in the winning lineup. Unless someone has like an insane amount of catches or a lot of yards in the ground. Are you playing Flacco? Unfortunately, yeah, I am playing Flacco. Again, I don't feel good about it. A single entry, well, we've got Crowder captain and Newton and then just filled in. Yep. Is Folk playing? I believe he is active. Yep. Yeah, he's in. And then Costello will be the guy for the Jets for kicking wise. Demir Bird making. Okay, we already answered that. DK, you playing Flacco? Yeah, again. Unfortunately, I'm Patriots defense. Let's see. Do you have both quarterbacks tonight? Yeah, I'm playing both quarterbacks. Mims, Burkhead, or Perriman. Give me Mims there. Cam, Captain, Gunner, Folk, Mims, Flacco, Crowder. Yeah, good with it. What's up with Olszewski? Gunner. Christian Wilkerson is in the player pool on the platform, huh? Is he? Am I just losing it? I don't see him. Unless, let me try on the app. Yeah, I don't see him in the player pool. You guys see Christian Wilkerson? Gore over Perine in GPP. Gore will get more targets. I feel more comfortable with Perine. Do you like Patriots wide receiver or Whitehead Burkhead for cash? Probably White or Burkhead. Play James White, y'all. Yeah, I mean, I think James White's a pretty decent play. Go both quarterbacks. I think it's a safe route to play both quarterbacks. I definitely don't think it's a must. Right? I definitely like Cam is close to a must play. I think again you can fade him if you're making a lot of lineups. Flacco's a guy you definitely don't have to play. Like I think he'll probably be 30 to 40% owned. There's other guys that have upside, right? I think both Bird and Myers for the Patriots have upside. I think a couple guys for the Jets, obviously Crowder, Mims, a little bit of Perriman. White or Burkhead. Again, it's I guess how you think the game flows. I think White does have more upside, but you kind of do need the Patriots to be playing from behind there. You see the Saints last night, DK. That was insane. I didn't actually watch a ton of that game, but that was crazy. Is it on any interest? Yeah, him, Herndon, Gunner as like really, really cheap guys. I think are all in play. I don't think either get a ton of targets, but all viable. Do you like Captain, Cam, Flex, Crowder, Myers, Perriman, Folk, and Gunner in GPP? Yeah, I do. Who's playing? Who are you playing? Who's playing out of slot? New England. I think it's gonna be Myers. Smash the like button, y'all. Help him out. Yeah, appreciate that, Cam. Yeah, we are almost to 40 likes. I think we were over 200 viewers at one point. Super to fade all Pats besides Cam. Super to fade all Pats besides Cam. It's contrarian. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that like Cam and a Jet stack wins it. It's definitely risky though. You get into Herndon or Gunner. I'm playing Gunner. I wish I could get to Herndon, but I couldn't get to him. Captain Crowder, Perriman, Jets D, Harris, Flacco, Burkhead. I don't feel a fantastic best lineup, but who really does? Yeah, again, it's contrarian, right? Harris is not going to get a ton of ownership, but I could see him paying off, right? What you need there is probably a touchdown at his salary. He's touchdown dependent, but not out of the realm of possibility. What's up, DK? 2 receiver fade all running backs and go 5 receivers. No, I think that's fine. Like again, running backs are in this slate. There's no real workhorse back. There's gonna be 3 running backs for each team, so I don't think you have to play a running back. Should I go Flacco and Herndon, Gunner, or Bird and Perriman Mims? I probably feel a little bit more comfortable with the first with Flacco and either Herndon or Gunner. Do you like Costello or Folk? I prefer the Patriots kicker a little bit more because they're projected to be playing from ahead. So I always, feel a little bit more comfortable with the. So yeah, Folk, I would like him a little bit more. For me, Captain Mims with Cam, Flacco, Gunner, Jacoby, Harris, and Myers. I think it looks good. Mims or Jets kicker. Again, safety, it's the kicker, but I think Mims has more upside. Burkhead or Perine, probably Perine, but that's a close one too. Burkhead, yeah, I think Burkhead is a pretty solid value play, right? He's not getting a ton of carries, not getting a ton of receiving work, probably does a little bit of both. Bird captain for the win, yeah, I like his upside. Bird is, again, he's a guy in the mid-range I think flies under the radar, but I think he does present some upside. I don't think he's going to be super, super high on. What time is the game? Game's supposed to be starting in 1 minute, so that's when it's going to lock. We locked in, let's see. Not yet, I think in the next few seconds here. Yeah, 5 seconds. Hit the like button, people. Yeah, 44 likes. Thank you guys. I do appreciate all come check a live stream. We know it's not going to be a great game to watch, but it's always fun, right? We have a Millie Maker to first. Do you think Flacco will be a bit higher owned than Myers and Cash? Yeah, I think they'll be around the same, but yeah. If I had to guess, I would say probably 40% Flacco and maybe about the same for Myers. How does this look, DK? Captain Crowder, utility Cam, Flacco, White, Izzo, and Herndon. I like it. I've never felt so lost about a slate before. Yeah, it's ugly. It's super ugly. Like no one's gonna feel confident. I don't feel confident at all. But it's still a game. We still have a Millie Maker. DK, let's get that CS:GO popping. Oh yeah, man. If I'm probably not gonna have videos anytime soon for CS:GO, but I'll definitely be playing. I think we have slate tomorrow. So if you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter. All right, I can go over my lineup real quick here. Ownership does take a sec to load, but yeah, I played Crowder in the captain with Flacco and Cam, so I kind of played a chalky approach in that realm, and then I played Burkhead, Mims, and Gunner. That's the route I went. Again, do I feel confident? No, but we'll see how it goes. Do you use any analytics for your lineups or just intuition? Just intuition for me. I guess I'm kind of a little bit more old school. I mean, I will take a look at some stuff like for the showdowns, especially like the snap counts. That's something that's pretty that I use a lot. But yeah, Mims, Captain Baby. Yeah, I like his upside. I'm interested to see what the ownership is. I'm interested to see what the Patriots defense is. I think they'll be, if they're close to what the Bucks were the other slate, then I think that's kind of a mistake. All right, let's take a look at ownership in the Millie Maker. So, Crowder, 47% owned. Cam Newton, 85%. That's a little bit lower than I thought. Flacco, 37%. Mims, 22%. Burkhead, 26%. Gunner at 12%. That's the guys that I have in my lineup. Let's take a look at some other things. So, Patriots defense, almost identical to the Bucks, 36% owned. I think that's too high. Now, do I think the Patriots defense can still get you there? Yes, but I think it only gets there like maybe at that price like 20% of the time. I think I would only throw him in like 2 out of 10 lineups. I was making 10 lineups. Perrine, 31%. And Burkhead. Jets defense is 9%. Like, I just like the Jets defense more there. I do. Frank Gore, 17%. Bird at 30%. Harris at 36%. That's a little higher than I thought. Thanks as always, of course, guys. Jacoby Myers, 48%. So he's a little bit higher than Flacco, at least in the GPs. James White, 34%. All right. Well, I think I'm going to get out of here, guys. Jets defense, 9%. Yeah, I like that a little bit better than Patriots defense, to be honest. Again, I really do appreciate you guys coming to check out the live stream. I know it's an ugly slate, but thanks again. Again, we hit over 200 viewers, so I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a good night. I hope you win some money, and I will see you guys all later. One more thing, I guess. Early look video is already up, as well as Masters. It's Masters week, guys. So if you're interested in PGA content, I do have a video up for the Masters. That starts Thursday. We have a Millie Maker for that as well. Ownership looks fantastic. All right, I'm going to head out here, guys. Good luck, and I will see you guys all later.